Alrighty, so World 9 just came out with version 2.1, and if there's anybody struggling out there, don't worry, your dude, your bro, your man, Kalocum is here once again with another simulated universe guide for those who suck at the game. I'm just kidding. Anyway, let's get into it. Let's start off with characters. As you will notice, a lot of the enemies in here are weak to fire, and a good chunk is weak to wind as well. Now, knowing this, you kind of want to bring at least a fire character and maybe a wind character. Now, for fire characters, I do want to give Fire MC a shout out. Not only is she a pretty decent preservation character overall, but she can do AoE fire damage, which it comes in handy a lot of the time, and you know, honestly, it's not a bad choice to go with. And of course, there's Himiko as well. She can do AoE stuff and follow-up attack stuff, so honestly, whether or not you're running her with the Hunt or Elation or even Erudition, she can be very good. Asta is also a good choice as well, just because, you know, she can buff your teammates and she can do a lot of AoE stuff as well, and she's really good at breaking. Very good character overall. Gwynaifin's a good choice, especially if you go ahead and run Nihility for some dot damage. Gwynaifin would honestly be really good there. Now for the wind side of things, if you have Black Swan, obviously bringing her into a Nihility run would be good as well. Sampo, really good choice too. Basically Black Swan, but worse. Can't really go wrong with that. Blade, of course. If you want to run Blade with Erudition, Propagation, the Hunt, or maybe even Destruction, Blade, of course, is really good as usual because he is the GOAT. He is the GOAT. You may be wondering about Wind Dan Hung. I don't really suggest this too much, but as long as your Wind Dan Hung is built very well and you run the Hunt or maybe even Erudition and get good buffs, he can do the job. So those are the fire and wind characters I recommend. Another thing you might notice is a few of these enemies are also weak to imaginary. I would like to give my boy Dr. Ratio a shout out because not only is he free, he can do a lot of damage. Now he is single target, which sucks, but his follow-up attacks and stuff are really nice. I personally used him in the run and he did just fine. So really good character overall. And then Welt would be great because he's Welt. And then the non-default Danhung, Imbibitor Lune Danhung, will of course be good as well, with the Hunt, Erudition, and Propagation if you have that. Now for other characters, I would like to mention, if you have a Jingliu, running her with Remembrance, of course, is probably the best thing to ever do with Jingliu, and you can cheese the shit out of it. And since I'm talking about that, let's give Herta a shout out. Herta can cheese it as well by freezing, doing AoE stuff. It's very nice. And if you wanted to choose to run her with Elation Path, that could do well also. And of course, when you do the Nihility run, the dot team, Kafka is a no-brainer. Now, as for preservation characters, anyone works as long as they keep you alive, right? I did mention Fire MC already. I honestly think she's perfect for this. But yeah, as long as you have a good preservation character that can sustain and keep you alive enough, you're good to go. And that goes for abundance characters as well. I don't suggest bringing Bailu or Natasha, especially if you're trying to rely on them alone to keep you alive. You're not gonna have a good time. So Lynx, good choice as always. Lynx can cleanse, do everything you need to, and she can keep you alive. Huohuo is a good choice as well. Locha is good also. You know, as long as you have any of those three healers. Even Gallagher, who's a new character, would be a really good choice as well, since a lot of these enemies are weak to fire. So, and if you can squeeze a buffer in there, that's always good as well. And other characters I kind of forgot to mention is Silverwolf, of course, will cheese the shit out of this. You can use pretty much any character with Silverwolf and you'll do fine. And for follow-up attack characters, obviously you want to run Elation with them. So if you run Clara, although there's only one guy in here that's weak to physical, I imagine Clara would do enough to deal with the boss if you have a lot of good Elation blessings. So running her with maybe Herta and Dr. Ratio would be a good idea. And Topaz, of course, if you have Topaz. So those are my suggested characters. if I forgot to mention one or you have a question about any character, comment that down below and I'll try and answer it the best I can. Now let's move on to my recommended paths. Now, first off, for survivability, if you really are struggling no matter what you do, survivability is key, right? Preservation is really good. It can do AoE damage with its resonance ultimate, so that's very good as well. The other thing, it can get you really tanky. So if you run preservation, I do suggest bringing in Fire MC, of course. And hopefully you have Japard or Fushuan or another type of preservation character, and you should be good to go. Now, Fire MC alone can probably get the job done if you stack up on so many preservation blessings. Abundance would also be a good idea, but honestly, it can't really do damage and help you do a lot of damage. So that might be a problem when it comes to the boss fight and your characters are getting captured by him, because those will end up stacking to so much that you just won't be able to get your characters back. And you'll slowly just get all captured and fail, which happened to me. Abundance can't really stop the boss from actually insta killing you because he can actually just kill you. Remembrance is obviously the cheese. Remembrance is the cheese for sure. Running Remembrance with other ice characters is a really good idea. Nihility, only good with dot characters. The Hunt is basically good for any type of DPS character, and as long as you stack up on these, you can get insane critical buffs. Destruction is kind of in the middle of survivability and damage. I haven't really messed around with Destruction too much, but it can be good, but I don't recommend it as much as the previous ones I mentioned. Elation, if you have good follow-up attack characters, Elation is really good. Erudition, good for any AoE character. You unlock this through Golden Gears, and you don't see it here because I'm trash at the game right now, but Propagation, really good for basic attack units like Blade and Imbibitor Lunae, and Qingchua, of course. If you have those characters, I'm kind of confused why you're here right now. Now, for additional tips, I do recommend trying to get the resonance for whatever your desired path is before you meet the first elite enemy. If you don't have it by then, restart the run, because you're having bad luck, you're gonna have a bad time. The best way to go about it is stacking up on the blessings for your desired path. That is the best way. And if you're not getting those blessings that you need for that path, you're gonna struggle. Another thing is I do recommend trying to get at least 2 resonance upgrades. You can probably get away with 1 resonance upgrade, but getting 2 resonance upgrades for your path is probably ideal. So try and get 2 of those, you'll be fine. Now, as for when you're encountering between combat domains or occurrences or whatnot, I usually like to go with combat domains just because they guarantee me a blessing each time. Occurrences can be really good, but that's RNG. They're not always good. So that's why I like to go with combat and guarantee me a blessing. But at the same time, combat domains also don't really guarantee you a good blessing, but I don't know. I just think combat is better for me. It really depends. But, if you want to take my word for it, go with combat most of the time. Now, if you can't help it, go with occurrence. Try and avoid transaction because I don't like transactions. Encounters, only do them if you're confident that you can beat encounters. And another thing, if you're running the Hunt or the 2 resonance upgrades, I do suggest bow and arrow and perfect aim. That's how you really get the Hunt to do its juiciness. For the boss itself, in first phase, it's pretty straightforward. Just do damage. He will try and capture one of your characters. If he does this, it's no biggie. Just try and attack the thing that's holding your character and get your character back as soon as possible. This is why AoEs are really great, because you can deal with the main boss while also trying to get your character back. So AoE characters, really nice. And that's all that phase 1 really is. In phase 2, he'll try and get 2 of your characters. And again, AoE characters are really nice because not only can you deal with the boss, you can deal with the other 2 things that are holding your characters. Very good. That's why I love Fire MC so much, because she can just solve that issue. No problem. But maybe she's the one that gets captured. Just use your other characters and you'll be fine. Now, depending on which characters do get captured, you do want to focus on which character is probably more valuable to your team. For example, if my main DPS got captured and maybe my buffer got captured, I'd rather focus on getting my DPS back because it's a DPS. You're lacking a lot of damage at that point. Hopefully by the time you do get the boss, you have enough blessings and everything is pretty easy. You honestly shouldn't be struggling that bad. Now, in phase 3, it's pretty much the same thing. He'll try and capture 2 of your characters. If you can't deal with it enough, he will eventually capture all your characters and lose. That's what happened to me when I tried to run the hunt, which honestly was my worst run ever. I had no hunt blessings, to be honest, and I'm surprised I got as far as I did. But yeah, he'll eventually capture all your characters and you'll just die. So if you're struggling this much, just try and rerun. Rerun until you get as many good blessings as you can, and you should be fine. So that's all my suggestions and tips. If you're still struggling, comment down below and I'll try and help you the best I can. If you have any questions, comment down below. I'll answer them as best as I can. Again, I hope this helps. I will now be showing the boss fight with my run. So if that's any interest to you, go ahead and stay and watch it. But as of right now, I will no longer be talking. This is pretty much the end of the guide. Bye-bye. Thank you guys for watching and good luck on your future endeavors. See you later. To the boss fight!
You learn to know yourself and your enemies.
Will of preservation. Upgrade configured.
For the theater of the mediocre. SAS knowledge, the measure of truth and falsehood. Fiends or devils, I'll crush them all!
Do you know who I... This big diamond! It's all yours!
Zero points.
Lance ablaze! Lance forward! We can't do this!
Forward. Get them. The test.
I'm scared! What are you looking at?
Answer me. 0 points.
I'm gonna hold everyone...
Get them.
Time to kill! Do you know who I... This big diamond! It's all yours!
Your answers? The test. SAS knowledge, the measure of truth and falsehood.
It's time.
Zero points. Fiends or devils, I'll crush them all!
Do you know who I... This big diamond! It's all yours!
I'm asking questions. Answer me. 0 points.
I'm scared!
Stay put.
Give me strength! How appropriate!
The test. SAS knowledge, the measure of truth and falsehood. Flesh.
Lance ablaze! Lance forward!
Get them.
I'm on guard. Time to kill!
SAS knowledge, the measure of truth and falsehood. Your answer. Answer me. 0 points. Fiends or devils, I'll crush them all!
I... This big diamond! It's all yours! What are you looking? Okay.
SAS knowledge, the measure of truth and falsehood.
These are devils. I'll crush them all!
Lance ablaze! Lance forward!
Zero points.
Time to twirl!
Free.
Do you know who I... This big diamond! It's all yours!
Lance ablaze! Lance forward!
I'm asking for a test. 0 points.
Give me strength! How appropriate!
These are devils. I'll crush them all!
SAS knowledge, the measure of truth and falsehood.
Do you know who I... This big diamond! It's all yours!
Zero points.
Lance ablaze! Lance forward!
Your answers? SAS knowledge, the measure of truth and falsehood.
These are devils. I'll crush them all!
Do you know who I... This big diamond! It's all yours! I'm scared!
Together!
0 points.
I have to go.
Flesh.
Hold everyone back again! Time to twirl! What are you looking at? Hey!
Lance ablaze! Lance forward!
Do you know who I... This big diamond! It's all yours!
SAS knowledge, the measure of truth and falsehood.
I'm scared!
Stay put!
Pretend it! How appropriate! Time to twirl!
0 points. I'm asking questions. Answer me.
These are devils. I'll crush them all!
Lance at the ready.
Do you know who I am? This big diamond! It's all yours!
Lance ablaze! Lance forward!
Test. 0 points. Knowledge, the measure of truth and falsehood.
What are you looking?
0 points.
It's time.